This a different topic and a different scenario than the first presentations. This is with smallholder farming, but the smallholder farming in Brazil is also very different than the Ethiopian. Okay, this is where the presentation focuses. Northern part of Ethiopia, especially in two regions. This is also the rain shadow part of the country where rain is very deficit or short because the wind, the rain-laden wind comes from the west. Therefore, this part is more or less drier area of the country. This is also the feature where it shows the country is highly mountainous, very difficult for farming practices, and it has different agroecologies within a small landscape. Then the situation here is we have a big landscape, one of the oldest farming countries in the world, we can say, because the history of Ethiopia is the history of farming practice that is highly historical with the Nile basin, Nile River, the Blue Nile River that is started from Ethiopia, and its agricultural system is at least 7,000 years of farming practice. Then it is with high land degradation. The high land degradation means it is also with high level of food insecurity, unemployment, and problems in the forest encroachment of biodiversity, agricultural production, and so on and so forth. Therefore, this is the scenario how this, they told me this was not existence before 30 years. Now it is open, wide, and deep. This is how most of the northern Ethiopia's landscape, where there is no grass, there are too much animals, they don't have anything to graze, but it is like they go and come back home for nothing. Then it is high overgrazing, deep and wide, as well as long valleys. And you can see also what is left over is also very good for the goats. Then, when we come to the emission, the Ethiopia's contribution to the world greenhouse gas emission is very insignificant. It's 150 million ton. Majority is also 50% is accounted to the agriculture. The second is 37 from forestry. Altogether accounts over 87% of the total greenhouse emission. This one is with transport, industry, and power, including buildings that are very high in the Western world, is very small. That is only 13%, which is more or less insignificant because of the development. But in the 2030, it is said to be 400 million ton, which is with an increment of 4.4% in the agriculture every year, and in the forestry also 2.6. Then it will be again dominant, even in the 2030s, the agriculture and the forestry. However, there is the CRGE, Carbon Resilience Green Economy, that is set by the Ethiopian government to reduce this from 400 into 250 metric ton in the 2030 is with its 4 pillars. One of the pillars says improving crop and livestock production practices for higher food security and farmer income while reducing emission. That is the target of the government, to reduce the carbon, the greenhouse gas emission. Therefore, it is more or less similar with what is going on in the ground. We can work in soil, water, agronomy, and so on practices, as well as vegetation, mixed agriculture, that is agroforestry. That is what is really happening in the ground. And the government is setting the carbon resilience green economy is highly relevant with this. Then that is supporting the farming practices for the low emission. That is, I know this place, it was very degraded with big and long gullies. Now it is physically treated, which is good for the retention of soil as well as flooding. And it is also supported by vegetation cover like this, which is very important to retain the moisture and the soil. This is also one example where the Institute for Sustainable Development, my organization, is working with communities by the support of SSNC, which is a Swedish organization. And then it was like this in 1997, while it became like this after some years, that is 2003. Because the physical and biological work all are being implemented here. And then the vegetation cover shows not only in supporting the environment, but also in improving food security aspect of families. Look here. This is compost produced from biogas, bioslurry, and then in drier area, you can see the impact. The drier area, compost produces 27 quintal of wheat, and fertilizer produces 27.5 or 8%. Then this is higher because the impact within it, I'm telling you mainly about grain because the focus area I want to tell you is on the grain part. Then 27, which is less by 1.5 quintal of grain because of the moisture stress that compost can tolerate within the climate change. The other one is this, which is 25 compost, about 27 is fertilizer, which is in wet area of Ethiopia in the southern. Then about 2 quintals is higher because of the moisture has helped chemical fertilizer to boost its nutrient yield. But this doesn't mean it is highly influencing the public because it incurs high expense for buying chemical fertilizer, which is a very problem for our farming families. But you can see here, even in the previous one and in this, the soil is very low productive whenever something is not added. You can also here, whenever there is high amount of fertilizer being applied, the compost applied, then there is a continuity of sustaining the soil system and the production system, which is this one. However, the chemical fertilizer is at the middle, and then again it is being lower or in middle level that is very near in the low, which is with control. Nothing is being applied. the other agronomic practices that are being applied in the farming system is giving us a higher yield. That is the SRI technology, which is also at local level implemented as system of crop intensification, which is giving a high tillage, deep-rooted, and then that you can see how far this is wide with one stem, and the root system is also very wide. This gives a production of 6 tons per hectare by compost. Here is also teff. Teff production is not more than 1 ton per hectare, but now used to be more than 3 tons per hectare. The grain is produced by applying compost. You can see the difference. It is one family, his son and himself, the man. This is one plant. This one is also one plant. And you can see how far the root system is very wide or big with this one. But you can understand the carbon capturing above surface and below surface will also have its own impact in the production system. This is another way of integrating altogether the food system and the animal system altogether as part of the landscape. The other thing that our farmers are very comfortable to adopt this spirit to other farmers is landscape with hungry stomach. Landscape with a landscape that is full of resources to feed others. But we tell them not to touch. It's nothing. It is not useful. Therefore, farmers are being trained to apply beekeeping, watershed management, which is occupied by beekeeping that gives income. At the same time, it also enhances biodiversity. Then it is highly respected. Nobody touches it. Then it is one way of improving the system like this. These are the 3 best in northern Ethiopia. These are the 3 best bee forage, improving the diversity in getting good quality honey, which is 1, nutrition, 2nd, income, and the 3rd is also vegetation cover. These are being improved. The other one is the seed system, the chain. At local level, at market level, community seed bank, and then finally, if this is not available nearby, then they go for the government seed supply system. It accounts only, that is less than 15%, that is, which is with the government seed supply. Otherwise, it is 85 to 90% with reliable cultivars at local level as biodiversity at family level or at farming level. This one very good example, a rocky landscape. It looks like this one. This is a man. And he was given this land with this type of feature. And all the time, he is like a machine without fuel. That is, he crushes the stones and pile terraces like this. And then he cut branches, lay down, and put the soil over it and spray with water. Then that is used to be mulching. It is a direct application, and after one season, it becomes fertile soil, which is very good, like planting this type of teff. Okay, then what we can see here is smallholder farming is nutrient cycling. This is the home. You can bring the woman here mentally. But I put for this purpose. And then this is the natural setting for vegetation. This is the house. This is the animal. And then this is the factory, compost making, to drive into the farming system, which is a cycling, recycling like this. I put this, my professor insisted me to draw this one into this one, and then all produced goes to human and comes into compost and produces, that also goes to the field. That is how he advised me. And then with the good quality of compost produced by farmers, with this quality, then what we got is, it is about 7 tons per year of compost per family. Then the organic carbon is about 600 kilograms per 7 ton. But now we realize, with the support of biogas production at family level in Ethiopia, which is a HIVO support from the Holland government, it is more or less quadruple the production. Not only 7, it is about 28 to 30 ton. Then I calculated it is about 2.4 ton of carbon, organic carbon is produced per each family with the biogas production. This is what the government I earlier showed you. This is the business as usual, and this is with the CRG plan, and this is a gap. Unless we work such things for this gap, then it is either to die or to do it. To shrink this one here, if not, many will be lost. Then some improvements are being recorded here. Springs are reappeared. Okay. Thank you. I forgot to tell about this. Mine is 3 with farmers, not 2. And that's fine. Good. Then micro-irrigation is also being developed, improving food security by enhancing family income and nutrition. Agrobiodiversity is also restored. Rural families are becoming better resilient to climate change because of the implementations they already. Then you can see there are some evidences. Soil carbon stock, earlier mentioned by somebody about the agroforestry, but there are chances we can boost the carbon sequestration to reach as far as 0.7 to 1.414 ton per hectare per year by farmyard manure application. Then it is also, with the legume is to this level, compost application with evidences from the desert areas in Egypt. This much can be captured. Then smallholder, that is the evidence from the FAO, is 0.26 ton of carbon per hectare per year can be captured by sustainable agriculture. Let me go first to zero tillage is also, as mentioned in the earlier presentation, that's good. Who should know the gain and loss of the climate change? We can discuss in this. Who should know? Is that the policy level, the farmer level, or the expert? Who should know this? How do we collaborate for a stronger result? Collaboration. Because we are running in different directions, but we don't know where we are meeting for an effective result. Do we need to see the contribution of smallholder farming by one eye, that is carbon only, or why not beyond? Where is the value of biodiversity and food security? It was mentioned earlier, and thank you very much. With thanking that is farmers, experts, local authorities, SSNC, and ISD.
Thank you, Hailu, very much for an
Thank you.
Thank you for an interesting presentation. And as many of you know, the Gothenburg Award for Sustainable Development was given to the organization last year. So they were very impressed as well with, and I guess some of the data is the same as you that they took part of when they decided to give this honorary or this award to ISD last year. So and we also are in desperate need of some questions and some food, and I can feel that we are getting into numbers back and forth here, and the numbers. What is really the potential? We have different voices, so I look forward to some questions now. Who wants to grab the microphone first? Lasse?
It's not about numbers. Would you say that this is now what is happening in Ethiopia? Now, I understand what you say, that this is government policy, at least from the Tigray region, perhaps, or so now it's just a matter of this expanding, or do you see any constraints or obstacles for this to happen? So could you please, if you see those constraints, what kind of constraints are they?
Lunch is... I'll wait a second more. Okay. Madeleine.
I feel a disliking attitude towards my questions. I just would like to ask you whether fertilizer and pesticides are totally not okay in the system. And
Sorry.
if so, why?
Sorry, again?
Pesticides and fertilizers, commercial ones.
Okay, so go ahead with Lasse's.
Okay. One thing, this is example. The first we have to know is the northern Ethiopia is one of the degraded in the Ethiopian context, because whenever there is bad situation, especially drought and famine, it is highly observed in northern Ethiopia, Wollo and Tigray. Therefore, these are good examples what happened by farmers and also expanded by local, regional, as well as federal government, insisting organizations to multiply in many places. Therefore, it's not only in Tigray and Wollo, but also in many parts of the country. But this is a reflection of the most degraded part of the country. When we come to your question, still there is a use of fertilizer and pesticides. Even the government is also trying to build fertilizer factory. But majority of the farmers are very reluctant to buy and use the required amount because, one, it is costly. Second, whenever they use pesticides, the beekeeping is highly affected, which is very important, very high income generating activity. And then they are trying integrated pest management type of the pest control. Therefore, it is being used, but with a limited or optimum type of use. The last option for pesticide is being used in many places. Otherwise, farmers tolerate without it. Thank you very much.
Could I just stop with Lasse's question was, and you responded to say that, well, this is very degraded land, dry lands, where these methods are applied. Could you say something about, just shortly, about the large breadbasket of Ethiopia or the other regions of Ethiopia and the kind of agriculture that you see evolving? How does it, is it along these lines or totally different lines?
No, that was I was trying at the beginning. That's why and I'm saying this example is one of the activities being done in many places throughout the country, because this government is complained to be pro smallholder farmers, because in the urban areas many complain the government that is pro smallholder farmers, and then it is boosting or enhancing the farmers' practices throughout the country. And then that's why I'm giving my example only focusing in the most degraded part of the country where its capacity is very low.